Okay,
Councilmember
we're live.
Sash.
Up live.
Live?
You're live.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item is the approval of the agenda. You have the agenda before you. I trust that any additions or anything we're forward to carry, and this is the agenda that we want. Can I have somebody move that we accept the agenda as presented? Daryl and Jean? Seconds? I had to think about that for a second. Ask or call for the question. All in favor? Carried. I trust everybody had an opportunity to read the minutes of the committee of the whole. Are there any errors or omissions on that? Hearing none, can I have somebody move that we...
That's for both minutes.
Oh, for both minutes? Oh, okay, well, we'll go right to the regular council meeting as well. You had an opportunity to read that. Any errors or omissions? Can I have somebody to approve both minutes as presented? Daryl, can I have a seconder? Barry? Call for the question then. All in favor? Carried.
So I need you to sign.
And then you have before you the committee reports. First one is the Public Works report. Any questions or concerns with regards to that report?
No, just to make sure that I don't know if they've done yet, it's been warm, lay out the 4x8 plywood where the snow goes across to get to the lake.
Oh, okay,
Just to make sure that they remember to do that, freeze it in.
okay.
So plywood,
We lay out a few sheets of 4x8 plywood.
Over
where
the-
it crosses the boardwalk, so they can scratch it up when the sleds cross.
On their entrance
Once
area.
they-
no,
Yeah.
plywood over boardwalk.
They'll know we've done it.
Park
every
exit
year.
area.
Yeah,
I will mention that they're in the process of moving that shack over.
Okay.
And they're gonna start putting on the outdoor ice there.
okay. Kind of hard to put the ice out right now on zero.
Is it going in the same place as it was?
Yes.
Yes.
Was
Yeah.
that last year or 2 years ago?
Last year.
Was that
Last year,
A
yeah.
couple years, 3 years.
And the reason being is it because that's the sand base and
Yeah.
it doesn't really
Yeah.
grass.
Same thing, good.
Yeah.
By the volleyball courts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one is the utility reports.
I will make a couple of notes here. Some of the cost overruns were avoided by us using our own equipment. So he noted that the pressure sustaining valves, everything was done using our own personnel and equipment, so we were able to control our costs there.
Sorry, Carrie, I had questions on, I had questions on a couple of those, so can you tell me which one that was that you're referring to? Might eliminate a question I had.
That's the pressure sustaining valves, it's toward the bottom of the first page there.
Two air release valves that require, is that it?
At council's discretion, pressure sustaining valves are currently being installed. They're installed already. That's just
Oh,
above
okay.
that paragraph above.
Okay, and so did we avoid the cost of being 3 to 4 times the original estimate?
Yes.
Okay,
Because we installed them ourselves.
okay. So just while you're on that, Tony, may I ask another question in relation to that?
Certainly.
So then there's the issue of Eaton as well, and I know that we wanted to get Eaton up and done so that we could put the request for proposal out for paving of Eaton. Any chance these can wait till the spring to avoid
Well,
having
that's
this
what I
4 to 6 times cost?
We're gonna wait till
We're
spring.
gonna wait till spring to finish
Yeah.
those?
And that'll be
Great.
at least fall before the asphalt is done.
Yeah. What's that?
It'll be fall then before the asphalt is done.
Well, no,
Because
we
you can't
can,
do it July, June, July, August, busy season.
I think Daryl's right.
So you're gonna be a fall project, or, at least late
When things
August.
slow down a little bit, probably makes more sense.
Okay.
Well, we can look at what when we put out the tenders, we can see what the timeline is.
Yeah,
They're not gonna be coming out to do any of that work until the ground's completely thawed too. So if we set a priority to get those ones done, because there's only 4 or 5 to do, if we can set that as a priority to get done and get on it right away, then maybe we can get that project done a little earlier.
some of those valves, there's multiple valves in one dig, so that makes it a little faster too.
Okay.
You know. So it's one dig, we get 2 valves, so.
So then we're only talking about
The only thing, when you put a tender out for asphalt, they have to know, start the,
Yeah.
we can't say them, oh, it
Yeah.
might be ready by then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
Any other questions on that one?
I did have one other.
I should point out there is a dispute going on right now on the repair of the well pump. And what I've asked the finance to do is to pay just what we agreed to, and we'll deal with the dispute as a separate item. So,
That was one of my questions,
Yeah.
thank
Yeah.
you. I have one more on, sorry, to do with the sludge removal.
the environmental approval of sludge.
Yeah. Okay, so, we're still waiting for information before we can make a decision on this?
We're still waiting for information to come back from Incinerator Injection on it, to be honest with you. And what direction we want to go in with respect to how we dispose of it. MWSB is also involved in this, so it's not just us that's
Yeah.
weighing it at this stage. There's still some question as to what is the best way to dispose of the material once we pull it out of there.
Okay, so we're not in a position yet to move forward with that?
I don't wanna propose it to council until we know what the actual solution is. Because the cheapest solution would be able to process it correctly and discharge it on farm fields in the area. So we're hoping that we can do that will meet the compliance.
The other thing we were looking at for the drying process, I thought we had talked about, and I don't know if they're looking into it, using lagoons 1 and 2 as this
Temporary
temporary staging area? Yeah.
Yeah, so all those
Okay.
questions have to be answered yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Some of the environmental people are still sort of thinking it over in their heads kind of thing.
Okay.
Barry, did you have anything?
Nope, I'm fine.
I had one thing with regards to the overflows. Can we get a more accurate, maybe to see if there's any kind of correlation with overflows that we've had? Because in the last couple of reports, it's indicated that we've, like this report now, I think it says 3 to 4 overflows. Previous reports, it has 15 to 20 overflows. And just so we have an idea of what the overflows have been actually, and I'm kind of curious to know if some overflows are happening in the same place.
Okay, so
Like if we had 3 overflows on one particular home, well then we've got to do something about those kind of situations.
So we've been recording information for 28 weeks now. We have 53 overflow pump outs or emergency pump outs recorded. In some cases, we do see multiple incidents, but very often they're attached to the same timeline. So it's sort of like it's overflowing, we have to keep going back and pumping it out until the problem gets fixed.
Okay, so then those
Yeah.
ones really are not.
They're one incident.
They're one incident.
3.
Are we counting them as 3?
Yeah,
Okay.
so we could reduce that. There's what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're really cutting it back to, you take 4 off of there, you're 49 incidents in 28 weeks. So about 2 a week.
2 a week, okay.
So Tony, I guess it would depend on for what purpose you're wanting to look at it. If we're wanting to look at it as it's driving our utility costs over, they're still having to go out
Yeah.
3 times versus looking at how many properties maybe need to be addressing their overflow situation. So it's kind of,
There's 2 reasons I wanted that.
okay,
One reason was, in the last 3 months, I've saw the reports of 15 or something overflows happening in those months. To me, I calculated 45 overflows, and I thought that was extremely high, and I wasn't sure if that was happening because of certain locations. We were having problems, so I just wanted to get that point clarified.
Okay.
And in fact, if the same person's having an overflow, let's say they have an overflow this month, and then next month they have another overflow, then we've got to make sure that we don't turn those guys on until their problem is resolved.
Or if it's in the same area, it could be an infrastructure problem.
Well, yeah, and then like as you guys all know, during the hydropower outage, that's where a lot had occurred during that period of time, because we found that a lot of the shut-off valves weren't working when we went there to do it. And same with the backflow valves weren't working in some of those places, so,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah,
I think we might, just because of that reason alone, because they did all the upgrading around Winnipeg Beach with their hydro, I think it identified a lot of area, or a lot of properties that had issues with their backflow or check valve.
yeah.
So I'm hoping that next year that those problems are resolved.
We're not looking at.
Until we see hydro go off again, and then we'll know, but that's the reason I'm like curious about what's happening.
Because I will make a comment, and that is that Mark and Tim have done an excellent job of building a recording suite for this. And our current service providers have been very cooperative in providing the information on site. So as we collect more data, we're also finding we have gaps in the data, and Mark's identifying different ways to make sure we capture that additional information we need. So it could be, okay, we know now we made a stop, we did an emergency pump out. What caused that? So we're looking at sort of narrowing down what root causes are,
Yeah.
and working from there. Now, Tim can to some degree provide that, but we want to capture the data, and since our service provider has been really good at helping us with that, I don't think they'll have any problem with giving us additional detail, you know.
The other thing that's important to know is if we're having these things on a regular basis like that, excuse me, we have to be prepared to, excuse me, swallow wrong. We have to be prepared to budget for that kind
Yeah,
of stuff too.
yeah.
That was my other concern.
Sorry, I do have one other question on Valley Fiber.
Yep.
So meetings have been held and design issues discussed. Are they looking, and I'm just not sure if I'm reading this properly, are they looking at running their lines on top of our low pressure system?
There's been some discussion, the reason I'm not bringing that up right now is they haven't come back with a final proposal, but what they're offering in exchange for that is for them to completely map out and give us a complete detailed drawing of where everything is. And then it'll be geotagged, so we can actually walk in there with a phone and stand over where it would be on a back lane and tell us we're right on top of the line right now. So they're prepared to provide us that detail, which allow us then to say, okay, well, we'll allow them puts to cut the cable down, maybe on the other side of the lane, we'll know exactly where our pipes are. So
So we gotta see this first before we
Yeah.
can kind of.
that's why I say I would rather they give me the detail and then present it to you and say, here's what we're gonna get.
One of their things is that, again, what they're looking at going through the back lane is that it's shorter runs for wires to each side rather than the front streets. And that's what they're looking at, I guess. But again, it'll be our decision on, you know, if we decide that that's not what we want to do, then that'll be our decision to them, say, you know, so sad, too bad. But they're looking at their costs, and it's a lot easier to access, I guess, the properties than they can do properties in the back.
Well, and the one thing I thought about with that is, so we have a sewage issue, or we have a pipe burst, and what's our liability to them for their, for us wiping out their,
Now, this is why I want them to give us a proposal for
Yeah.
council to consider.
Yeah.
It saves them 15,000 meters is what they're saying. On the other side, they're prepared to give us that detail we've never had before, so, you know. They're gonna send out literally a device down every pipe and it maps it for us. It gives us an accurate readout right to, like I say, right on a geotag basis. It identifies exactly where the pipe is in the ground. So they would, in exchange, give us that detail, but I said, in order for me to present it to council, you need to give me the information and then let council consider it.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not prepared to commit until
That'd be very
council's
weary.
seen it.
Yeah, that's,
the two running. Is that okay?
So, you know, it's better to say no,
It'll be
say, well,
damaged.
show us what you're gonna do and we can present it to council,
Sure.
you know.
And when we look at the Front Street process, the only thing that's there in the Front Street, in all our Front Streets, is just gas.
yes.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no MTS, there's nothing else, no hydro, it's all gas.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else on that? Rec committee report? Okay, we'll move on to the recreational report. questions?
No, nice to see that the ice is
Excuse me.
being utilized a little more.
Kids have more programs or 2 more ice slots.
Mhm.
It's busy.
I will point out the issue with the ice surface has been resolved. Everything is back up and running. We're good to go.
We do have a piece under correspondence on the Interlake Tourism Ice Fishing Tournament, and Alan's also got it in his
Yeah.
report,
Yeah.
so, okay.
Yeah, we'll deal
So
with
we're
that
already-
again.
So we're already
It's all-
committed to.
We've already, yeah,
Okay,
done that,
okay,
so,
perfect, okay,
yeah,
yeah,
it's just gonna be information.
okay.
Okay, the finance officer's report. You have it before you?
Mark, do you want to give an update on the auditor's report? We did get the audit.
We've got the draft audited financial statements now. We've noticed a few things that need to be adjusted and corrected, and we are meeting with the auditors by phone call tomorrow too.
Okay. And hopefully get those, I'm hoping that we get, this, before I say that, have they given us a timeline once you talk to them of when they were gonna have that report finished for us?
We're still hoping before the end of the year.
Good.
Depends on their staff timing.
I can tell you, we're gonna press hard tomorrow. I want that information corrected before Christmas, because Mark's gonna do the final reconciliation and close out the year. So we can close out 2021 properly, you know, so, and that'll allow us to start generating monthly financials in 2022. So, we don't wanna operate blind anymore, we wanna have that information on a monthly basis, to be able to provide council with it.
Bylaw officer's report. Any concerns, questions? Anything that
I
you
did,
wanna-
I did contact the bylaw officer this week regarding the loading zone at the lodge.
Yes?
Apparently there's been a lot of people plugging up the loading zone, which is used for the handy van, ambulances, Meals on Wheels, etc. So I just wanna let council know that it, something needs to be done.
Was it 15-minute loading zone?
The email just said the loading zone in front of the lodge is being tied up. People are parking there that,
We should see what the sign says, because maybe it doesn't say 15 minutes.
It doesn't say 15 minutes. What's happened is that in the past, what's happened is the home care person comes in and they've got that whole that whole area parked there, and they can't park in the back because of course there's cars parked there. That's their cars, and that's where the home care person will park.
But the side
the email I got was from the lodge themselves.
The lodge themselves.
The side
Yeah.
usually has a spot to park.
What's that?
Side usually got room to park.
What side?
Side street for the lodge.
But I'm not sure what side street you're referring to.
Oh, this stiff.
I would
Oh,
assume
no,
it's,
not during the day, like when they have the bank and everything here, and the grocery store there? Yeah,
Okay.
anyway, I just wanted to make the bylaw
Yeah.
officer aware.
Yeah.
Hopefully people can respect that.
yeah.
And I will follow up on your email. He did copy me in on his response.
Yeah.
I'll follow up and say, we just want more attention to it.
Okay.
Because I know that was one concern that was brought up, and somebody had mentioned it was the home care person, and I thought, well, it's a home care person going in there to take care of a person.
But there are, usually there's parking spots.
Usually there
Just
are,
look,
yeah,
there's parking spots.
yeah, yeah.
So they just have to be let known to park where they're supposed to.
I guess maybe it's a timing, because too, the Meals on Wheels and that happens in the at lunchtime. I don't know where the home care, what time home care comes in.
Yeah, it's probably.
Could be
all
that,
over.
or again, it could be, like you said, could be other people too parking in there.
Yep.
I would assume that if the complaint came, or the email to Barry came from the lodge, they would have known that it wasn't
sure they would let the
anybody,
support
yeah,
staff
that it
know.
was
Did,
a
the question
home care.
being, you said the email came from the lodge, it's the Manitoba Housing?
From an employee at the
Oh,
lodge.
okay, not
Not from
Manitoba
an
Housing,
employee at the lodge.
okay. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, they just have to ask the person that parks in the house.
okay,
Talking about the place behind us here?
okay. Anything else on that? Okay, the MEC report.
So I'll follow up on that one.
You'll follow up
situation.
on that one concern that we have there?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything on that? Okay, we'll go to the fire chief's report.
You'll note the pumper one went back in service on
Yep.
December 7th.
December 8th?
It's 7th. right?
7th?
Yeah.
Oh, because it says here
It's 8th on the report.
on the 8th on the report. December 7th, place. You know, on the report it has December 8th on the
It's
report.
got two different dates, I guess.
Yeah.
We picked it up on the 7th and went into
Oh,
service on the
fixed
8th.
and went into-
Oh, okay. Okay, anything with this? We'll have then a resolution to accept the committee reports as presented. Can I have somebody move, we accept the committee reports as presented? Barry, seconder, Jean,
Yeah.
all in favor? Carried.
Any
Okay,
extra comments?
okay, yeah. Nope,
Yours?
A little early for the delegation.
should be open.
Yeah, it should be open.
Yeah, we forgot to.
Yeah, we're still waiting for that. We're gonna skip all the variation hearing thing and go to the
Correspondence.
correspondence. So the interlake tourism, one, the ice fishing one,
Excuse me, should Mark leave the door open?
yeah, Mark, you gotta leave the door open.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we've entered into that. We've already paid the bill.
Okay,
We're participating.
we're participating in,
Yeah.
okay, great. The minutes from the weed board, again, these are just minutes and just information.
Not the weed board, it's,
Yeah,
These-
delegation,
Yeah.
watershed district, isn't it?
Oh, it's the one, I'm sorry,
Watershed
East Interlake Watershed District, oh,
Yeah, I was wondering what.
sorry about that, yeah,
Somebody read them.
That's a different.
yeah, sorry,
Yeah.
yeah.
The in-kind advertising thing, we're working with them on that right now.
Yes, the in-kind, did everybody have an opportunity to read that one? That's just some free advertising we can get.
Did, were any of the staff able to attend the webinar on the night?
Newspaper, yeah.
No, but they're gonna do a separate session with me. We're gonna have to speak, it's really not that complicated, we've explained it anyway,
Yeah.
but
Okay. And then we have
Katie cares.
Katie Cares,
It's just information.
we can bring that information, we can bring that to the budget meeting,
Well,
or just
or,
as
yeah, it's
information.
probably-
It's current, it's this year.
And it's
it-
also more than, it's.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
we
yeah, yeah,
have-
yeah.
We could, maybe put the word out if anyone's interested in town to, you know,
But the letter states that we're getting this letter because they receive people from our area,
Yeah,
so. Do we have anything in this year's charitable allotment left?
I don't believe so. I think
no,
we
and I,
pretty
even
much
when I did, I don't
Yeah.
think it's right to use this year's.
no, they wouldn't be, unfortunately, if they would, again, a lot of these things, like, we've got a couple here that have given those requests as well, that we can bring forward to our budget.
Put this for budget 2022,
Yeah,
okay?
the RCMP quarterly report for information. And then we have the RM of Gimli public hearing. This is something that all municipalities, they send out to adjoining municipalities just to make them aware.
Let me just a question on
Mhm.
that. So they do say, and in this case, it's not as relevant because it's really not anything that impacts us, but they do say if we have any input we want to provide or anything to get back to them. So I'm just wondering if these could come out when they actually come out, in case there is some feedback we want to give, because if we did, looking at this one tonight, which is
Yeah.
really not that relevant to our community,
Mhm.
if we did have something we wanted to give back, we'd be too late. So I'm just wondering if we could get these distributed as they come in.
Wasn't it date 22nd? Don't you want the, what's the deadline?
I was looking at the deadline of 22nd.
22nd, December.
Yeah, that's the deadline.
No, it's scheduled for the 22nd.
Right.
Yeah, but you can have input up to that point. in
Oh,
time.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
that's okay.
If there's time sensitive, that's a good point, I will make sure you get that right away.
Thank you. Clearly, I did not read that well. Sorry, you guys.
And then we have all these municipal relations documents. It's for information,
Very high.
and that goes all the way.
Municipal relations,
14.
6:13.
there's several bulletins there.
Yeah.
There's one bulletin there where they talk about what do you call it?
It's your story.
Capital planning and assessment thing, Mark and I
Right.
Yeah.
can let you know, we're in queue
Yes.
now, we're almost there for approval on that grant and so on. Once that gets approved, then we'll be able to move along with that and start getting the study done for the area, and we'll be back in compliance. Right now, we're a little bit bad boys, but we should be okay.
I'm not sure if you are aware of the, so what the province has done is saying that we need to have an asset management plan and inventory.
Yeah.
And the FCM, the Federation of Municipalities, we're providing a grant for doing that. And we have hired somebody to do that asset management paperwork to get us into queue, and that was funded, that would have been funded with FCM money. And we've been accepted. We're now in the queue, so we're now waiting for that all to happen, because your funding will be based on that document being prepared. And that's something that they wanted to have it so that they can, look at your assets and determine what the funding should be for us.
So does the grant money
Mhm.
include the ability to able to hire somebody to do
Yes.
this? And
Yes,
then not
that's
have
what
to
the grant
spread your
is for.
existing
Yeah.
stuff in? Good,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, because using our own resources, we wouldn't be able to get it done.
Just wouldn't happen, yeah.
Yeah. And we've been trying, we've worked on this, Daryl, 2 years now, trying to get in there to get this done, but all the municipalities across the province of that have been trying to do
Okay.
that. Okay? And then we have 6:27, the time right now.
14 was the
No,
budget.
it's the time.
The
Not
time.
Agenda items.
So this
Evergreen basic needs, that is going forward to the,
Budget 2022.
Budget, yeah.
Yeah.
then we have the benefits for firefighters. They've increased their
Types of cancer
time for,
compensation.
yeah, their compensation
Yeah.
for cancer and that kind of thing. Their benefits are better now. And then we have the draft transition plan. That's that plan we talked about before, where they're looking at the recycling. And again, it's more information coming once we figure out what they're gonna be doing. Gimli Seniors Resource Center, that's going into the budget. We always include that in our budget for discussion.
Mark that for budget 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Historical Society, there's a couple of asks on there. I trust everybody had an opportunity to read it. And the asks are, let me enlarge this for my reading here. They're at the bottom. They want to be able to advertise on the website on a weekly basis of upcoming events that they might be having. And I don't know how you guys feel. I don't think that's a hard ask. That's something that we can provide them.
Under events, like.
Under events, yeah.
Okay.
Like on the calendar, for
Yeah.
example, when we have a calendar, we can indicate their Historical Society meeting. They want us to give them the okay to use the Winnipeg Beach Historical Society.
Right.
And they want that in writing, just so that they can apply for a nonprofit
Right.
Is that,
That's not, we don't have that name, but they wanna put that
no,
name
and I
forward.
understand we don't have that name, but somebody else might, so I don't know if we're the be-all and end-all for asking of that, and they need to check further. Like, we don't have an objection to them using it, but they're gonna still be required to do the proper trace on it.
They are, and they're just asking us
Okay,
if
if we have an
can-
issue with
Yeah.
using it, okay.
And are we okay with that?
Digital, yeah.
Yeah, to do that, okay?
So write the
Okay.
letter and have you sign it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Digital.
and a digital file, I don't know if we have a digital file on the water tower.
We must have, because all our promo stuff,
Yeah.
one of it has the water tower, so.
If we have it,
We
we'll,
have some information.
we do, okay, good, so it's okay, we'll send them that kind of information,
Sure.
Okay.
okay? So it is 6:30 now, perfect timing.
There was one, sorry, there was one other thing on there.
What was it?
Any town councilors, recreation director, and those with past historic interest in the town in attendance will be invited to share their feedback. So, are we going to have Alan join this group, support this group?
How often?
Well,
are
he's
they-
part of recreation and culture, so.
Yeah, that's
so-
why, yeah, I didn't want that missed.
No,
That's
no,
why
no,
I'm
so
saying,
that, yeah, they're gonna let us know when they're having their meetings.
Okay,
Sure.
Yeah.
okay, and,
And
okay,
then you guys can attend and, you know, we
Yeah.
can attend.
yeah. Sounds
Okay, it's 6:30. I would like for us to get out of council and go into our variance hearing. Do you wanna invite the person in, Mark, please?
Guess they could have come in and taken
Hello.
Yep.
Be resolved that the regular meeting of council be recessed at
6:31.
6:31 PM for the purpose of holding a public hearing as required on the following matter. Application for variation on the Town of Winnipeg Beach zoning bylaw number 8, 2012. Application for variation TWB-21-41V at 427 Kernstead Road and legally described as Lot 8, Block 1, Plan 2831, roll number 32000.
Okay, can I have somebody move? Gene and Daryl second. All in favor? Carried. We're now in a variance hearing. Good evening. What is your name? I can't seem to find your name on the variance order here.
Daryl Cockrell.
Oh, Daryl. Take your mask off. I'll recognize you now. Hi, Daryl. How are you?
Yeah. So last time we were in a council chamber, it was Cross Lake, and the folks weren't quite as friendly.
That's right, that's right. Just to give you a little information on how the procedure will happen, is that we'll listen to your proposal, and then what we will do is also listen to anybody with opposed or for your proposal, for your variance. Council will have an opportunity to ask some questions, and then after that, we will adjourn, and then we will go into a regular council meeting. At that point in time, we will again discuss your variance, and then determine, there will be four things that could happen. We could either approve your variation as presented, we can approve your variation with conditions, or we can postpone the variation for further information, or we can dismiss your variation as well. So those are the items that we have. So I'm going to give you the floor on your proposal for your variation.
Okay, thank you very much, Mayor Pentel. Basically, it's a piece of property that had formerly been a residential and a commercial piece. It has become one residential with accessory buildings. Our intent is to divide it into two residential properties. They're both basically a half acre, 100 feet frontage, 101 feet frontage. The home that is on the old lot 1 has been renovated, and we hope to sell it. The property, the proposed property, lot 2, will become a residential property. There's one building that has to be torn down. There's another building that has to be assessed, whether it will be renovated or torn down. I did go door to door to see the neighbors. Everybody was pretty good. Mr. Cooler across had a concern about potential commercial operation. And I explained that it was a clause in the resolution that if it was at some point tried to become commercial, that would come back to council again as it's not residential, it was commercial. We're trying to improve the property. I think the one side looks pretty good. Hopefully we get the other side looking good, and eventually there'll be 2 residential property tax incomes for the communities.
Okay.
Any questions?
Any questions with regards to the variance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one question. The second property that has the outbuildings on it,
Yep.
is it your intention to sell it as is, or are you planning to put a residence on it?
We are.
So you're planning to build and then sell, or build and use, whatever? You'll be responsible for the building of the house, sorry.
Yes.
Okay,
The
thank you.
main use was a shop, which I've got my boats and things of that nature. It's not a commercial operation.
Okay.
We hope to establish a residence there, whether it starts as seasonal becomes, but it'll be my wife Charlene and I.
Okay. And is it still zoned commercial with residential?
No, it had been commercial where the dairy operation was, and then the home was residential on the home side, commercial on the dairy side.
Oh, okay.
But many years ago, Mr. Johnny Rechtel wanted, I guess, one tax bill, and he was no longer operating the dairy, so it
So
became
it's now
one
on residential.
block as residential with accessory buildings.
Okay.
Okay. Did we get that email? We didn't get that email yet?
And we don't know if that was for or against.
We don't know if that was for or against either.
He did state it was 4.
It was for? Okay, okay. Okay, any further questions? We
Is that
can
later?
discuss that
Is that
after, we can
during
discuss it
discussion? Okay.
afterwards.
Okay.
Okay, if you'd like to step back and just sit for about 10 minutes?
Sure.
I think it shouldn't take long for a discussion.
Okay,
And
so
then-
I'll stay in the room?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, okay. Well,
Close the public hearing.
yep, excuse me.
Be it resolved that council now close the public hearing for variation or reconvene its regular meeting of council at 6:37 PM.
Okay, can I have a mover for this, please? Barry, a seconder, Daryl, all in favor? Carried? Now we're gonna resume.
Want to read out the next resolution?
Yep, please.
Whereas the applicant, owner of the property located at 427 Kurdstead Road and legally described as Lot 8, Block 1, Plan 2831, roll number 3200, in the town of Winnipeg Beach, has applied to the town of Winnipeg Beach for a variation number TWB-21-41V to permit for 2 accessory buildings prior to the construction of a principal building being a residence on the proposed Lot 2, as per condition of subdivision approval. Be it resolved that after careful consideration for the application, any representations made for or against the variation sought by the applicant, the Council of Winnipeg Beach in meetings duly assembled this 15th day of December 2021 approved variation TWB 21-41V. The variation will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon 12 months from the date of decision, unless it is renewed before the expiry date at the discretion of council for an additional period not exceeding 12 months.
Okay, can I have a mover for this so we can get it on the floor? Jean, a seconder, please. Daryl? Okay, discussion.
I'm okay.
You're okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. Okay,
There'll be a time limit to complete the home. Because we're gonna allow accessory buildings first, right?
what we can, there's different things we can do, and that's why we have the discussion. We can also put a condition that no work be done on the buildings prior to the home being built, except for, I guess, the demolishing. You can demolish it, but you can't we had done that with another piece of
Just
property.
recently.
We did, but that was a case of, that was a new construction of those, that wasn't,
Non-conforming or
yeah,
anything.
that wasn't,
No, one of the buildings was existing.
right, okay, yes.
Yeah.
One was existing.
One was existing.
I have no issue if you want to fix up a building, just, it has to be a timeframe of when a home's built, if we're gonna allow accessory buildings first. Whether it's a year, or whatever it is.
Does the time, sorry, Tom, does the time limit on the resolution itself, that means we're allowing the outbuildings without, primary residence.
Correct.
That expires in 12 months, so is that not in itself sufficiently implying that the house has to be built? Or do
Yeah, it
we-
should still be in
yeah.
an agreement, that's the
Or
case.
should it still be
just to
specifically
clarify.
stated?
I hope that's no problem, a year type of thing.
We can't.
2 years were, well, I know for sure that wouldn't be a problem,
We're
but,
closing his discussion, aren't we?
Yeah,
Yeah. Well, and he has it, yeah, and the resolution says another 12 months. He would have to come back to council before the 12 months are up and request another 12-month extension on it.
can you read that one more time, just so we have it clear?
The last part of it, you mean?
Yeah.
The
please.
variation will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon 12 months from the date of decision, unless it is renewed before the expiry date at the discretion of council for an additional period not exceeding 12 months.
So what we have there, okay, read the first part again, because the first part is the one that allows us to have.
Well, it's clear there.
No, it's not. Read the first part, you'll see. Go ahead. Sorry.
What do you mean?
Carrie.
Be it resolved that after careful consideration for the application of any representations made for or against the variation sought by the applicant, the council of Winnipeg Beach in meetings duly assembled this 15th day of December 2021 approved variation TWB-21-41V. The variation will expire and cease to have any effect if it is not acted upon 12 months from the date of decision, unless it is renewed before the expiry date at discretion of council for an additional period not exceeding 12 months.
So what we're doing is we're allowing those buildings there. That's what the resolution reads, is that we're allowing that building there. The only, if we want something to change, if we're putting a condition on it, for example, the time frame when the house is being built, again, that gives you your 12 months. I don't see it as, because the buildings are already existing. So for them to, we're just giving the allowance for that building to stay there for 12 months.
Without a
Without a
primary
primary
residence.
home.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
that's
if
what
we're
that variance is.
comfortable that if there isn't a primary home within the 12 months, they have to come back to us in 12 months and say, and get an extension for another year.
Yeah,
So we're good with that?
yes.
Is that what we're saying?
That's how the resolution is
reads.
reading.
Okay.
Yes,
so
that's how
we-
it reads.
Yeah, okay, so then we don't need to add that within a period, timeframe.
Yeah,
So,
okay.
okay, I just wanted to make sure that we're all clear on that. Okay? Any further discussion on that? Go ahead.
Yeah, the use of the buildings.
Oh, very good point too.
Yeah, the use of the buildings.
Because in other situations, the buildings weren't allowed to be used for any
Yeah,
purpose.
They could leave the buildings there, but they couldn't be used.
Yeah,
One's being torn down,
one's being torn down.
and
It doesn't all of a sudden become, you know what I mean?
I have no problem using the other building, it's a storage building, they're gonna be building a home.
Well, we don't know that.
Well,
And the
over
only
here.
reason I'm raising this is because of,
The situation.
as we had a similar, we had a slightly similar situation that we made a decision on, and I'm just looking for some consistency in our decision making, that's
Yeah.
why I'm raising it.
But that was in the middle of building a shed that was not conforming size.
They also had that other,
It was a little different situation.
they also had the
They had-
cottage there, that other
That
cottage.
other-
Yeah.
And that they were using it as a
And
shed.
it was unfinished,
No.
that building.
No.
This one's finished.
No, Daryl, they had
It's a sh-
they had an existing building
Yeah,
plus ones they were adding on.
yeah.
Mhm.
What did we allow with that existing? I believe we allowed them to continue, did we allow them to?
The only difference, this one's inactive, been used for storage and stuff, so finished.
The finished building at this property was used for storage.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
believe,
The-
did
the-
we
the
allow? them
cottage,
to
it was a
continue?
Well, that was more of a shed.
No,
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 Daryl,
it's a cottage.
there was a,
It was a
no,
cottage.
there was a
No,
small
yeah.
cottage,
It's a guest.
almost a guest
Yes.
cottage
Yeah.
It's a guest
that they were
box.
using for storage.
Yeah,
and then there was the two smaller ones that
Sheds that they were building.
they were in
It's under the
construction.
sheds, yeah.
Yeah.
So so the sheds, we had them stop construction on.
Yeah,
What did we do with that small building? Did we allow them to continue to use it for storage?
can't recall what we did. I think we
This
did.
is, it's a little different, this one, to me, like.
You've seen the property.
Pretty cool
I
shed,
trust
storage
everybody's
shed
seen the
already
property.
being
It's
used.
it's a kind of a, it's the dairy, the milkman's, storage building that he had before. So if the building isn't altered in any way, you know, I don't want it to start seeing it as a, it's a shed,
But it's been, like, my point is, it's been there for many, many years.
it has been,
So I don't have an issue at all.
yeah.
It's not a new shed that they didn't build the size and want to modify it. This has been there 50, 40 years, whatever.
Yeah.
No, and I understand that. I'm just, like I said, I'm just looking at some consistency with our decisions. That little guest cottage that they were using for storage has also been there for a
Yeah,
long time.
yeah, and what we had said is that they could continue building finishing the
We
two
stopped them on
sheds.
those.
We weren't allowing that. And that if they wanted to, they had to build that home in order for it to carry on.
Did we address well, we would have had to, because it was 3,
Yeah, maybe-
what month was that?
Trying to think of when it was. But it's still our decision, whichever way we want to go
Was
with
that
that kind
not a
of.
non-conforming at the time? The
Yeah.
Size, this isn't the same situation, size issues or anything?
Mhm. And we haven't had any complaints with regards to that.
I think that had to do with percentage of property as well.
Percentage of property
Percentage
too.
of property.
Right.
Okay,
You're
okay,
right,
thank
you're
you,
right.
thank you, thank
We
you.
couldn't
Yep.
increase it, they couldn't increase it
Right,
because of
yep,
percentage of
okay,
property, okay.
yeah, which was a whole separate issue, nothing to
Okay.
do with what we're looking at here. Thank you,
Good.
Barry.
You're right.
Okay.
So we're okay then?
Done with our conversation, I am.
We're good? Okay. I'll call for the question then. All in favor? Carried. Okay. You've got up to a year if you decide that you're going to not be working on it. Again, if you take out a permit, basically,
Yeah,
then your permit, you know, you've got conditions with your permit anyway, so, you know.
okay, well, that works for me, like, would be in a position to get a permit within a year, I just,
Yeah,
finishing, this day and age, you just don't know, so.
yeah.
That'd be a little bit rushed.
Okay.
Okay, well, thank you very much, and,
Thanks for coming.
everybody have a good Christmas,
You too.
and watch the roads, they're getting a little icy.
Are they?
Oh, yeah. Oh, did that happen once before?
Last meeting.
No, with him, I
Can I-
once before, and the roads to worry about the same
Almost getting
scenario.
into the city. Springford Hotel tomorrow night, get yourself in there.
It's tonight. It's this morning at 4.
Get a ride with Carrie. Are you guys packed?
Okay. Okay, we'll continue on. We are at RCMP, we did that. We did municipal relations, the big whole thing. Living earns. You read the information that was provided with regards to Gimli.
Yeah, it was interesting.
And so shall we just take this as information, and how do you guys feel about this?
Was this a tree question?
Yeah.
Tony?
Yeah, there's good points there, and I think I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you guys feel?
Yeah.
So we'll just take it as information, okay?
So is that the direction we're to use for the management of our own cemetery?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the direction that,
Yeah.
we were talking, we're gonna look at
Yeah.
maybe, an
Allowing
earning
it.
situation at budget time with that cemetery. Remember, we looked at what was it called,
Yeah.
The crypt things.
the crypt things, yeah.
But what we're saying here is that we're not allowing living urns, just like Gimli
At
wouldn't.
this
Correct.
point, yeah.
At this point, yeah.
At this point.
And then, very valid points.
Based on
We had an
information we
inquiry on
received,
it,
we're.
Did we have an
Yeah, we had an
inquiry?
inquiry on it, which is what led to this, didn't we?
We
Yes,
did have an
That's all I
inquiry.
have
We
to
did.
respond to
Yeah.
the inquiry.
Yeah, that at this point, we're not
Okay.
entertaining moving.
Yeah, but we are looking at, you know, if they're looking for an earns situation.
The idea is they want a tree growing there. I did check with one of jurisdiction, they said flat out, no, they
They-
won't allow it,
Okay,
you know. But Gimli's was a good response. I thought.
it was. Okay, so,
Accept correspondence?
Yeah.
Be resolved that council accept all correspondence as presented.
Can I have somebody move it, please? Jean, seconder. Barry, all in favor? Carried. General checks. I trust everybody had an opportunity to review.
I just have a question, sorry.
Yeah.
So are we just running checks once a month?
Sometimes twice. Depends on the volume and the dates they're due and things like
I'll
that.
give you 3.5.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
I just wanted to point out, there was one item I called upon, which was the dollar amount. And a lot of times, all of the information doesn't show, like, for example, the mezzanine project paint for $17,000, that isn't just paint, it's just,
No, it's the total invoices.
yeah, so I was kinda like, wow. So
Yeah.
Mark clarified that for me.
Is there any, on that subject, is there any way to enlarge in the invoice description that we see?
That'll have to make a request to Uniware. It exports as a PDF, so I
Okay.
don't have that capability, but I can throw it back to them and ask if there's some way we can make this landscape instead of portrait and get more invoice description on it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Maybe we want to just wait on that request until we get
Yeah,
other things
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
pressing, smooth sailing.
yeah.
Can be a discussion for the new year.
Payroll approvals. That's all had.
You wanna
Do we
do the
want-
Oh,
resolution?
sorry,
first?
yes, check approval, I'm sorry.
Be it resolved that council approves the accounts payable being check number 2021-0526 to 2021-0555 issued November 25th, 2021, totaling $48,941.93, as circulated by the CAO and reviewed by the Finance Committee.
Can I have a mover, please? Daryl, seconder? Jean? All in favor? Carried.
Payroll approval. Be it resolved, the council approves the December employee payroll as reviewed and approved by the finance officer and CAO amounting to $45,345.12. December fire department payroll amounting to $554.82. And the December council indemnity amount of $9,537.95.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Mover? Anybody want to move that? No, nobody wants to move it? Okay, Jean wants to move it. Can I have a seconder then? Barry? Questions? All in favor? Carried?
Preliminary budget.
Yeah.
Be it resolved that council adopt the 2022 interim operating budget as listed. Shall we read those off?
Yes, please, yeah.
General government services, $350,000. Protective services, $150,000. Transportation services, $520,000. Environmental health services, $150,000. Health and welfare services, $15,000. Environmental development services, $35,000. Economic development services, $35,000. Recreation services, $240,000. Fiscal services, $300,000, and utility requirement, $580,000.
And this is strictly for us to continue on paying our bills in January until we have our full budget.
January, February, March.
Yeah.
Yeah. This amounts to $2,375,000, just for council's information.
Yeah.
So it's not our full budget.
Can I have somebody move this and then we can have discussion? Daryl, seconder? Barry? Questions?
Yeah, just because I have not been through this
Yeah,
process
yeah.
before. So are those numbers just taken, is it a kind of a mirror of last year's numbers to get us started with?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
That's what that is.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. And then what we do is then we go back.
Refine it
and-
when we.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Now, I will point out the mayor asked us to reduce the numbers to below this year's numbers, because we don't need the full dollar amounts, but it's about 2/3, Mark, I guess, of the annual budget.
Because we're approving for a 6-month period.
Yeah.
And I'm really hoping that we have our budget in place before that. So there was no need to do a budget for $3 million when we really didn't need it for 6 months. Okay. Okay, then call for the question. All in favor? Carried. Okay.
Be it resolved that council authorize the finance officer to transfer 2020 penalties under $100 to the 2021 penalty grid code. Everybody understand why we're doing that?
No.
It avoids somebody who has, let's say, $35 outstanding on their account being put into a tax sale situation.
So, well, let's read the resolution, then we can have a discussion.
Be it resolved that council authorize the finance officer to transfer 2020 penalties under $100 to 2021 penalty grid code.
Okay. Can I have a mover? Mover? Barry, was that your hand that moved? Okay. The seconder? Seconder? Jean? Jean, you're a little edgy about that one. Okay, discussion?
I'm ready for a question now.
Discussion?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Does this always, do we always do this? Is this something new? Are we?
We have done this in the past. We have done this in the past, but Mark, maybe you can,
We did indeed do this last year. It saves us, most of it is at the low end. So people who have made payments and are making payments, who owe, I think we have approximately 20 people under $5. And to send someone to tax sale with, you'll see a fees of $1,000 almost right away, for under $5, and who are making proper efforts should.
Okay,
So,
so,
sorry, go ahead.
sorry, is this just the, can I address Mark with this
Yeah,
question,
yeah,
since he's gonna be answering it? Thank you,
Yeah.
Tony. So, it says penalties under 100.
Yes,
So is that including any penalties and outstanding taxes, or just
just
penalties?
penalties.
So their taxes are still in arrears?
If their property taxes are still in arrears, that will not be transferred. So that they will go to tax sale if they're still owing part of their property taxes.
They will go to tax sale?
Yes, but anybody who has under $100, typically it's just the penalties left.
They're only
Okay,
after a couple of years.
okay, so that, yeah.
Yeah, it's and that's only for 2020.
Okay, so if they're under $100, they don't have a $2,000 outstanding tax bill.
Well, they would still have all of 2021,
2021, that's it.
but they wouldn't have under $100 in 2020, which is what's going to tax sale.
So, here, so what happens is, every time we send something into tax, for the tax services, they charge us a fee.
Yeah.
But is it $50?
We charge $50,
Yeah.
and they're, just to register it is $336, I believe, from last year's numbers.
Yeah, and people go with 2 years.
Yeah.
So most of it is they've paid the year before.
Yeah.
So all they have left is that small amount, which makes them in a 2-year period, but it's $5 or $10.
But it's 100, okay, the
Yeah.
amount owing from 2 years ago
Yes.
is
Yeah.
under 100.
Correct.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, I got it now,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yeah, that's what that is.
Okay, now I can vote in favor.
Yeah. Okay?
Yeah.
Any further question? Call for the question then, all in favor? Carried.
Thank you very much for that, Mark.
Okay.
Tax sale date.
Tax sale date, here we go. This is the date that we set.
Whereas section 365, in brackets 2 of the Municipal Act provides council may in any year designate the immediately preceding year or any earlier year as the year for which properties, the taxes in respect of which are in arrears for the year, must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. Be it resolved that the designated year for which properties in arrears to be offered by sale by auction be 2021, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes from the year 2020 or prior, and be it further resolved in accordance with S.363 and in brackets 1 of the Municipal Act, costs shall be the actual costs incurred by the municipality for each parcel listed for the tax sale, plus an administration fee of $50 per roll set forth in the Manitoba Regulation 50/97. Be it further resolved that the tax sale be held September 30th, 2022 at 10 a.m. at the Town of Winnipeg Beach Council Chambers.
Okay. Can I have a mover, please? Gene, seconder. Barry? Discussion. So we're just setting a tax sale date for that. But again, most of the time, they try to get this resolved before that. Okay, call for the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
Supplemental tax.
supplemental tax.
Whereas S.326 in brackets 1 of the Municipal Act permits a municipality to correct its tax roll and impose supplementary taxes, be it resolved that the council for the town of Winnipeg Beach approves the supplemental tax reductions as presented. Summary, 2020, negative $1,071.26. 2021, negative $1,119.32.
Okay, can I have a mover for this? Mover? Gene, the seconder? Seconder? Barry? Discussion. Mark, is this not what we dealt with before, that one?
We discussed it at the last council meeting, but I did need a resolution to officially pass this.
Remember the one that we talked about at the last meeting with regards to the property that was
Thank you.
wrong? Yep.
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Bad, you're starting to understand what my glare means, Tony. I don't get this.
Okay, call for the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay,
Moving in camera.
we're going in camera, yes.
Be it resolved that the regular meeting of council of December 15th, 2021 move into camera at
7:01.
7:01 PM to discuss personnel and other matters that are in the preliminary stages of discussion. And further be it resolved that any matter discussed while in camera be held confidential until such time as discussed in open meeting.
Can I have a mover, please? Barry, seconder. Gene, call for the question, all in favor? It's carried. We'll now go in camera, you'll unplug us.
Yeah.
Carried. Okay, we're out of camera now. We're live. Okay, the first item out of camera is the fire department paging system.
Be it resolved, the council approved the purchase and installation of the Motorola CM200D VHF 45 watt radio paging encoder Midian from Alcom Electronics at a cost of $8,090 plus applicable taxes.
Put this on the floor. Can I have a mover? Barry, seconder, Daryl. Okay, discussion. Just a question. Can this be put forward into the, because we're not gonna get this pager until next year? Right?
It'll be in next year's
And
budget.
so it'll be in next year's budget, so that we're clear, so that when we do our budget, this will be part of the fire department's budget. It'll show $8,000.
Do we want the resolution to state to be purchased in 2022?
Oh, it won't be,
It won't be billed till then anyway.
yeah, it won't be built to that.
Okay,
Yeah, it won't come through the books till.
Unless we want Mark to hold it in this year's budget year, which
I'd rather.
we can do it as a JE and hold it.
that's complicated. things.
Yeah, I'd rather see it come in when we do our budget. We've already approved the interim budget on that, so we know that this is a budget item.
Unless we knew we were under the budget.
We're close
Right.
in the fire department right now. So.
Well, yeah, because we had that pumper repair and
Right.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's why I don't wanna risk.
But if we did have a lot of.
Yeah. Okay, any further discussion? Call for the question, then all in favor? Carried. Okay, Fitbit designation. Go
Be
ahead.
it resolved that as per section 80 and 81 of the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act requires that each local public body designate a person or group of persons as its head for the purpose of this act. Whereas the town of Winnipeg Beach is a local public body under the Freedom of Information and the Protection of Privacy Act, therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby designate the chief administrative officer position as the head of the town of Winnipeg Beach for the purpose of Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, and further be it resolved that the finance officer position be given the delegated authorities of the access and privacy officer effective December 16th, 2021.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Mover? Daryl, seconder? 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 Barry?
Sorry.
Discussion. Go ahead.
So this is being delegated to Mark? Is that what this is reading? Or that he is,
CAO.
It's both.
Yeah, it sounds to me like both.
No.
It's both of them.
Well, Mark handles the personnel files, so we almost really need to have him on here, because he's the one who controls what's in and out of the personnel files and so on.
And in that personnel files, and well, it's mostly too, because you have all of the records for their banking information.
Yeah.
When you do their checks and all that other stuff.
Social insurance numbers.
Social insurance number, so he has all that information.
So just so you know, what we have is, the files are in a locked cabinet inside the safe, so we have a 3-tiered level protection there, so.
Okay?
nope, sorry, I'm still a little lost.
Whenever there's like a FIPA request,
Yeah,
uh,
right, so Carrie has been appointed.
Yeah.
The CEO has been appointed, the person responsible for FIPA requests in the office. But
Right.
then it says further be it resolved that the finance office is being given the delegated authority. So is this now saying it's Carrie, but he's actually delegating the authority to Mark?
no, I don't think that's what it reads.
What it means is both of us own responsibility for it. One on the level of enforcing it as an overall basis, and Mark reports into me in terms of making sure that the information of all employees and so on are kept private at all times.
Yeah.
That includes client files, everything. So,
It
you
should
know,
probably stated.
So you're the
Yeah, this is
overseer
not-
last
Sorry,
line,
this isn't
accessor.
making sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Accesses the.
He accesses
Okay, but-
accesses
okay,
the private information.
And I understand that, but is this resolution not just to appoint who the designated person is for FIPA requests in this office?
this is required under the act now.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know why we have this piece of Mark being a delegated authority.
because he's the one that handles the file.
But you get the information if you need it.
You're dealing with the FIPA request, right? You're dealing with any FIPA request. So so are you dealing with it, or are you now delegating Mark to deal with it?
And stay near the head.
I'm responsible to make sure that we are compliant. If there's a request that Mark manages the files. That's
So,
what this is
okay,
saying.
so it does not, okay, so what I'm asking is it not supposed to be handled by the person that we're designating as our FIPA person?
I think there's two parts to it, because the personnel information and stuff, or other information that might be confidential, that Mark has access to, would then be able to give that information out to, and have authority to give that information out to the FIPA person, which is designated, which is Carrie.
But this basically states that he has the designated authority. So it doesn't matter if Kerry is the head, he has designated authority. So maybe it should be you have the authority, you can get the information from Mark. But I don't think you're splitting it up. Like
I mean, if the decision has been made that Mark is looking after personnel files and things, that's fine. I don't think that has anything to do with what we're doing here. This is appointing an individual as the head of the town of Winnipeg Beach for the purpose of the Freedom, Information and Protection of Privacy Act. So it's you that any requests will be directed to. It's you who's responsible to ensure that they're answered within the time frame. It's you that would need to be asking for an extension. I don't think what you're thinking, this piece about the finance officer being given delegated authority, is part of, should be
So
part
then I
of this
can't have
resolution.
him handling any of the files, and I'm not gonna do the filing.
Why can't you? You're the head of it, it doesn't state you can't. To get information.
Okay, so how about if we do this? How about if we get another reference of some other community and what they've done on this designation as well? Then we'll know, like, what did Gimli do? What did RM of St. Andrews did? And then we'll have a clear, and see if we're in line with that, so that we have a clear understanding. Would that be good? Can we do that?
Yeah,
Are
that
you
sounds
guys-
good, because I'm
is
just
that
not
There's
clear.
no hurry here,
Yeah.
like it can go next meeting type of thing, so it's not a.
Are we compliant, Mark, if we do that?
I don't believe we're compliant currently, so.
Yeah, so.
We're just not compliant for another month. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll
So-
call Kelly.
Yeah, if you could find out, because.
So we're tabling this. then?
Yeah,
Well, we
so
can still
because,
designate.
We can still designate Carrie.
He was the head.
okay, so
The
what if we
information
do
the
this?
last paragraph.
Yeah.
What if we did this? If we designated Carrie and
Then we can-
removed the last paragraph,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because that's a paragraph of concern, we could bring a resolution forth at the next council meeting,
If we need to.
if we
delegate
need to,
Marcus,
and
yeah.
then make him the finance officer
Yeah,
and have that particular thing. Is that fair?
Yeah.
sounds good.
Okay, is that good?
Mhm.
Okay, so I need the mover to sign the change on the resolution.
All right, so made this note on there,
Yeah.
because I thought we were tabling it. That's okay.
Yeah, sorry, that's okay, yeah.
Yeah, Daryl and Barry.
Yeah. Just initial with the change.
Just initial.
So then that way we'll know.
Yeah, it gets
I'm just
retyped.
curious with other
Yeah.
municipalities, because it's a federal thing, so everybody's gotta be basically the same,
Not a
right?
small municipality like ours.
Yeah.
So sometimes you
Or
need
the
to-
not, or phone, I wonder if we find out from Janice as well what they did with their request.
So therefore, the resolution simply reads now, be it resolved that as per section 8081 of the Freedom of Information and Privacy Act requires that each local public body designate a person or group of persons as its head for the purpose of this act. Whereas the town of Winnipeg Beach is a local public body under the Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act, therefore be it resolved that the council of the town of Winnipeg Beach hereby designate the chief administrative officer position as the head of the town of Winnipeg Beach for the purpose of Freedom of Information and Protection of Privacy Act.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Hold on, sorry. It says persons or persons. So if Carrie wants to be able to allow Mark to do it in his absence, or in the event of a large
Yeah, it says,
request to assist, why don't we include persons, and be it resolved that we hereby designate the chief administrative officer.
well, you know what, let's not.
And Mark in there, that they both be in there, because it says person or persons. So if we name the two of them there, then we don't need the additional piece,
There's no head, right now, he's the head.
So, but it says in this first
person or
paragraph,
person.
it says, or
Yeah.
group
Right.
of persons. It doesn't mean
Right.
just one person, you don't
Right.
have to have. But just to clarify, let's just get it sorted out.
Okay.
Let's not debate it, let's get the information.
Okay.
And let's leave it at that,
We
and
can
then
do
we
another
can,
resolution in
and then
January.
we just do another resolution in January. So we'll be in compliance because we have someone that we've designated
Okay.
at this point in time.
Okay.
We can designate another person at the next council
Okay.
meeting, once we get the information, okay?
Okay.
Okay, moving right along.
You need to vote on
Oh, yeah, sorry. Okay, so with that change, call for the question, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Piper Valley, offer to purchase. You saw it before you. We have a resolution, and then we can have a
Be it
discussion.
resolved that council authorize the mayor and CAO to sign the offer to purchase on the land described as Lot 4, Block 7, Plan Number 2831, Roll Number 38700, as per the agreement signed with Valley Fiber on September 3rd, 2021.
Okay, can I have a mover for this, please? Jean, the seconder. Barry? Discussion? Again, this is a piece of property that's not any value to us.
The access, is it just not grassy right now?
It's the back lane, it's a back lane there. There's a little
Gravel?
access. Yeah, it's gravel.
Okay.
Riverhand,
Yeah.
what's his name's
I
house
just
there?
remember it was
Yeah,
grassy.
right there.
Gravel.
But it's not a legal lot size that you can build on.
Right.
And good news is that we won't have to maintain it and we'll get taxes on that piece of property.
And it's a piece that you really
Yeah.
couldn't sell because it's sort of in the middle of everything.
Yeah. So any further discussion? Call for the question then, all in favor? Carried, okay? Yep, and I'll
I'll
sign
need you
that
to
too.
sign that
Yep.
other thing later.
The rail line pedestrian footbridge request.
Be it resolved the council direct the CAO to write a letter to Lakeline Railway asking the installation of a footbridge on the railroad tracks at Elm Avenue to improve accessibility for all pedestrians to cross the tracks.
Can I have somebody move? Barry, can I have a seconder? Seconder, oh, Jean? Okay, discussion?
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
Great idea,
Any
yeah.
access is great.
Yeah, great. I wouldn't mind finding out or ask them also is if they could consider one of those where the snowmobiles have to cross to get gas. Because you're going over tracks there and we ice it a bit, but it's not ideal. And it's the only crossing for snowmobiles from the lake to the gas station.
So maybe with the letter, we should ask if we could have a couple of crossings.
Yeah, absolutely. 'cause
And
it's-
maybe talk with them and maybe there might be an opportunity to even,
Yeah.
I don't wanna say the word.
You know, Elm there, that piece where everyone goes.
Yeah,
It's not the
What
safest.
about
of times.
The only
sponsored
thing-
signage too?
sponsored signage.
Sure. Somebody can sponsor the crossing as well.
If there's a cost.
Maybe phase 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe phase 2, because this individual has gone to the trouble of contacting the rail line
Yeah.
and discussed it. They said it's not a large a difficult project or costly, but they needed the request to come from us,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Because they'll
Yeah.
have specs like how it has to be
Yeah.
done
So
properly.
we might want to then maybe look around and see other places and then
Yeah.
approach the railways separately on those other locations.
So we've done that, okay, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Penalty cancellation letter.
Be it resolved the council authorize the finance officer to cancel $19.80 of penalties on roll number 65700.
Can I have a mover for this, please? Barry, a seconder, please? Daryl? Discussion? No discussion?
Yes?
Okay.
Do we know where we late in mailing the letter?
We mailed the letter on time, although Canada Post has seemed to stretch out when some of these were being delivered. We've had stuff that's been mailed out. We had calls in the first week, and we've had calls all the way through that they have just received the letter, and it's stretched months.
So
They were all taken at the same time.
So we're looking at taking responsibility for Canada Post.
Essentially.
Yeah.
No, it's 20 bucks.
Again, it was,
It's $20 this time.
Times it by
And if we're still getting phone calls and while
No, I'm not saying it's-
while administrative errors of our own that we are responsible for would support us reducing somebody's taxes equal to the penalty amount, this isn't our administrative error.
No, I agree, if it's not our error, it's.
Okay,
Yeah,
any
we
minutes?
sort of gone through this before.
Yeah.
Okay.
The outcome is the same.
Okay, so let's, again, the motion is in a positive motion, just so we're clear. If we can read that motion.
Be it resolved, the council authorize the finance officer to cancel $19.80 of penalties on roll number 65700.
Okay, can we have then, I'll call for the question, all in favor? Okay, against? It's defeated. Can't vote twice.
With each hand.
That only works at home, Joe.
Okay, then we have another resolution here that we,
Be it resolved, the council set the following dates and times for meetings in 2022. Committee of the Whole meetings, January 12th, I won't read the times, February 9th, March 9th, April 13th, May 11th, June 8th, July 13th, August 10th, September 14th, October 12th, and November 16th. Regular meetings of council, January 26th, February 23rd, March 23rd, April 27, May 25, June 22, July 27, August 24th, September 28th, October 26th, November 16th, and December 21.
can I have a mover for this? Daryl, a seconder? Seconder? Barry? Okay, discussion, the times, you have a time though. What-
Why is
Well,
it
all
changed?
cows at 1, all regular meetings of council at 6.
But that was changed, wasn't it? Did we not have the cow meetings at 9?
9:30.
9:30?
Why is it 1?
Why is it 1? Yeah.
That was as what the procedures bylaw says. The council had changed it this year, but I believe it is still in the procedures bylaw.
For what?
We never had it 1.
No?
Okay, so do you want that changed to 9:30 a.m.?
Is
Or
9:30?
10, if 10's better for some, like it doesn't.
What do you guys think? What would you prefer?
I go, sometimes I do go to the city, so I prefer late.
I'm retired, so it's whatever you guys,
Yeah.
oh, you're retired too now.
I prefer,
Well, for another month.
Okay.
I'm not
So-
retired.
For another 2 months, yeah.
So what do you think? Do you want it later or do you want it,
Have they ever been in the evenings at all?
but, the problem with the evening is we get the staff to come out.
Right.
And that's where we have the issue.
Okay, but we have a sorry,
Sorry, go ahead.
thank you, sorry. We have a bylaw officer and a fire chief that have day jobs, so they're not always available during the day. So, it is kind of important that we be in a position where we can have their presence, and I don't know, do we maybe wanna look at having every other meeting in the evening?
Or a late afternoon.
Or a
really late afternoon.
late afternoon, so that
Because-
it's not cutting into,
Because they might be able to attend if it's late
If it's
afternoon
late
as opposed to
afternoon.
early morning.
And the committee wasn't just staff, it was, whether it was officials, and I know COVID's changed things, there hasn't been many people coming in, but government officials, whoever was morning, they always make.
We also have-
daytime.
Zoom as well, right? And
So, unless there was a good reason, I myself do go at Wednesday afternoons often to the city. So unless there was a real strong reason someone couldn't do it, I would support leaving it as it is, or maybe just a little later. If it makes it
Well-
harder to plug in, but.
we have to be mindful of the fact that some people have to take time off work for these things, and if we could perhaps meet halfway in the middle, and
Who, like, they could still make certain meetings, like all our staff.
I'm not talking about our staff, I'm talking about council
Council.
members.
and it may change come August.
Well,
So,
But
but then we might as well just leave it till,
Well,
7 months away.
It does make it tough on me, but I mean, I don't know.
Wednesday, 9:30 does?
it's, I've been doing this for 12 years and I worked for Manitoba Hydro. And I knew my responsibility when I took the job. And if I had to take time off, I did take time off. And that was just me. It whatever time the council decided was the time, was the time. And unfortunately, yeah, I did have to take the time off. You know?
Again, but the question is asking if we wanna change the time.
Yes,
And that's why I
absolutely.
say a later afternoon
Okay.
would be my suggestion.
Okay, at what time? What kind of, what would be, again, we're.
2 o'clock?
We wanna be,
I say
we wanna
doesn't
be
work for me.
flexible.
Yeah,
It doesn't work at all, like at the odd time, but I can't.
See, two is, again, that would, how about you, G?
I'm,
You don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, well, I mean, I have an issue with February and March at 1 o'clock, but I'll figure that one out,
Okay,
but,
okay.
but later February and March would definitely do me good.
When you say later, but again.
Like the 2 o'clock instead of the
2 o'clock?
9:30. And then I'm missing.
Then alternate them possibly then, that way I can at least still be able to.
So every other one, and now.
Yeah, that makes it work.
One in the morning, at 1 month
Sure.
in the morning, and the
One-
next
one-
month
one at
then.
night.
yeah, I'm not opposed to that, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, one in the morning and one in the evening?
Sure.
After.
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying 1 o'clock,
No, no.
not one in the morning.
2.
Like 2
o'clock.
o'clock and
2
then 1 in
o'clock?
the morning, yeah, just
Okay.
for
Not
general
1 in the
purposes.
morning,
You wanna go to
Okay.
10 instead of 9:30?
10 a.m.,
10 and
So
2?
January
Or
12th, 10
9:30.
a.m.?
Yeah,
9:30 gets you back into the city at a.
and then we
decent time.
alternate
Oh, you're
10
going
to.
to-
Yeah, he's gotta go back, he's gotta go.
9:30 is fine.
9:30?
9:30, sorry, 9:30, if I'll get it right, yeah, 9:30.
You using a pencil there?
Yeah.
9:30 and 2 alternate?
Yeah, and
I
we'll just,
retyped them anyway.
and then, okay, so it's alternate, so you'll just alternate it between 9:30 and then the next cow meeting will be at 2.
And just check your schedule, because we've had, in the
Yeah.
past, when we had an
Yeah.
alternate, some people
Yeah,
would miss it.
so our,
Then
So
the other one
January
is
12th
Wednesday,
starts-
December 21st, that's right, and we can't move that any
Uh,
earlier into the month, that's kind of.
December 21st.
Yeah,
That's
I don't have
the,
a calendar. Oh, I don't know my phone.
yeah, so we're meeting
We
November.
can always change the meeting date as well.
A month
with the
before, we can
resolution.
make, the meeting before, we can change a date.
Yeah, we can change the resolution.
Okay. This is
We
just.
do
to
that
get-
Karen, are you
this
starting
is
Jan
to get
12th
something
at
down.
9:30 then, and then alternating?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah. So Jan-
9:32, 9:32, 9:32,
Okay.
and then I'll leave December 16th the way, or November 16th the way it is right now, because,
Sure.
Cause we have the,
AM,
yeah,
and-
cause we have the.
because you have the AM and PM,
They-
right?
yeah,
Or
AM,
the
PM date.
earlier one and the later one.
Yeah,
So we'll
Okay.
leave that the same.
okay,
Okay.
So I need Barry and Daryl to initial this.
yeah. And then we were going to also bring the resolution for, what did we do? Oh, the
Yes, for extending the
extending the
animal control and
bylaw.
bylaw officer contracts in the vehicle.
I got that ready for, just need your initial there. Okay, so we've alternated cow meetings 9:30 starting in January, alternating each month 9:30 to 2.
Yep,
thank you.
perfect. Okay, call for the question, and all in favor? Great, carried.
Next resolution, be it resolved that we extend the contracts for the bylaw officer and animal control until April 30th, 2022.
Mover, Jean, seconder, Barry? Any further discussion? Call for the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, okay,
And the only thing left is adjournment.
adjournment, okay.
Be resolved, the regular meeting of council be adjourned at 8:23 PM to meet again on January 26th, 2022.
Can I have a mover? Daryl? And Jean? All in favor? Carried.